The dust has settled on the Wind Up Watch Fair New York 2025, and while big brands grapple with tariffs and shrinking sales, the micro and independent brand industry seems to be thriving. And these were the best watches I saw at the show. My name is Louis, and this is As Time Decides. Let's get straight down to it. Right off the bat, we have one of the best micro/independent brands on the market, Venezianico, with the Redentore Utopia. This watch looks absolutely incredible all round, from the gear shade dial to the hand assembled V5000 manual wind movement. It's a real marvel. The dimensions are great too, with a case size of 38mm, thickness of 8.9mm, and a lug to lug of 44.2mm. It's wearable on all but the smallest or largest wrist. The €4,500 price tag is not cheap by any means, but this watch is as close to perfection as Venezianico has come so far. The bad news is this watch is limited to 100 pieces and it's already completely sold out. The good news is there's a new version coming and it's even better. Trust me, I'm not exaggerating, just wait until you see it. The Christopher Ward stand was mobbed for pretty much the entire show, and it's easy to understand why with all of the hype surrounding the brand at the moment. And they were selling this, a 100 piece show exclusive limited edition, the C12 Loco Brooklynite, and it's probably the best C12 Loco of the bunch. It swaps the standard dial for one inspired by the Williamsburg Savings Bank Tower, and it really takes the watch to the next level. Aside from the dial, the manually wound CW-003 movement is also a work of art with its visible free-sprung balance wheel and mind-boggling 144-hour power reserve. Like the aforementioned Venezianico, it isn't cheap. It costs £3,995, but again it represents the very best the company has to offer. Or should I say did represent, because I've spied a couple of upcoming models and it's safe to say things are about to get even better. Studio Underdog and Fears were the talk of the show with the show exclusive limited edition Manhattan, but for me it's the wider release Mimosa that deserves all of the plaudits. It follows the same concept as the Gimlet and the Manhattan, but takes it one step further with a dial topped with a yellow hammered sapphire disc. The end result is a watch style that looks much like nothing else you've seen before. It has the specs to back it up too, with a Swiss Sellita SW210-1 manual wind movement, which is accurate and reliable. I believe it cost $1,300 plus taxes at the show, and was also available to order online for a short time, a couple of days after the show. My good friend Kieran from Top Tier Ticker has been fortunate enough to secure all three releases. Am I jealous? Maybe a little bit, but please don't tell him. I'll never hear the end of it. The Awake Sonmay Silverleaf Golden Hour may well be the best watch I saw at the show. The dial is absolutely mesmerising. A lot of brands are jumping on the stone dial trend and also trying all sorts of different dial materials. But I don't think any brand has executed an exotic dial quite like Awake has with the Sonmay collection. And for me, the Silverleaf Golden Hour is the pick of the lot. The dial incorporates silver leaf within layers of lacquer created from tree sap to produce a gorgeous shimmering vignette dial of yellow, orange and red hues fading to tobacco at the edges of the dial. The highly polished stainless steel case makes it known that this is a dress watch, but at 39mm, a dress watch for the modern wrist. The watch is powered by the automatic Lejeune Perret G101 and retails for €2,000, which I think is actually a fair price. I did see Awake at Time to Watches in Geneva, Switzerland earlier this year, but the lighting was even worse than at Wind Up because the brand was exhibiting in the basement of the building, and so I'm glad I got to see them again. I said in my Wind Up overview video that I was a little bit disappointed with the Atelier UN Ancestra when I got hands on, but I can't help but include it in my top 10 because it's still an absolutely compelling watch. The detached lug construction, the hand-hammered enamel dial, the baguette diamond indices, there's a lot of unusual choices and I really respect that. It has that little bit of X factor, and that's something special a watch really needs. You can argue it's overpriced at €5,100. If you only care about bang for buck, stick to your Casio F91W because pretty much everything else is an indulgence at this point. I still feel like it's rough around the edges. I don't know if they plan any more variants in the future, but I'm sure with a few refinements the Ancestra could be a real winner. Trasca is a brand, much like Christopher Ward in fact, that has become known for making well-built, affordable alternatives to luxury watches. But an upcoming release signals a broader horizon. It is a jump power watch and it should be coming out in 2026. It uses a modified Miyota 9 series movement and will retail, I believe, in the region of $1,200. I love the regulator design with separate dials for the minutes and seconds, but the most striking thing is, of course, the visible jump power wheel. Sometimes a jump power display can be mistaken for a date window. That's certainly not the case here. The watch is bold and a complete departure from what the brand has done before, and I'm all for it. I think a lot of brands are realising that the affordable alternatives market is very saturated, especially with the rise of the AliExpress brands, and so you need to offer something different, something unique to really stand out in the market. The Econutra Rivenera is a watch I didn't particularly like when it was first announced, but it has grown on me over time, and seeing it in person has transformed my opinion completely. It's a rectangular dress watch with a twist, ditching the classical elegance of a highly polished tank case for a sandblasted grade 5 titanium case. It somehow gives the watch a totally unique look for a rectangular dress watch. The caseback is completely flat, unlike many tank watches which are often curved, and it's only 5.9mm thick, owing to the manual wind Perso 7001, which is visible through the display caseback. It looks awesome. I think every brand should do it. The great thing about the show was just how many British brands were there. I guess we just love invading the USA. Old habits die hard. Why should the watch industry be any different? The Aerodyne is a new model from Marlowe, and I particularly like the one they dubbed the Miami. It looks like this one is yet to be officially unveiled, so I can't tell you much more about it, but it was cool nevertheless. One of the surprise hits from the show for me was the Yema Navigraph Pearl CMM.20, a 39mm diver with a mother of pearl dial and mother of pearl bezel insert. It's only 9.75mm thick too, owing to Yema's in-house micro rotor automatic movement. It's just a gorgeous watch. I think other brands have used mother of pearl bezel inserts in the past, but I don't think it matters too much because it's just so well executed here. And micro rotor movements are just cool too. Xeric is an American brand that produces all sorts of crazy and wacky looking watches, from regulator watches to jump powers to tourbillons, just all sorts of crazy stuff. But at the show I was most impressed by their new Omnigraph model. The dial design looks complicated, but I think it is just various ways of displaying the hours, minutes and seconds. It uses a Miyota 9 series movement too, so it walks the walk. The loom application is really interesting too. The dial is extremely busy, and yet it's probably still the most normal looking watch Xeric sells. It was actually really hard to narrow this list down to 10 watches. There's probably another half a dozen I could have included instead. One huge honourable mention is the Fairra Stratton Moonphase, which was embargoed at the show, so they wouldn't let me film it, but has now been announced. Next week I'll be in Manchester for the Manchester Watch Show, and hopefully that's going to be a great show as well. Hoping to get hands on with some new watches, especially a couple of new Christopher Wards that I've heard are coming very soon. That'll be interesting. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's all I've got time for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next time.